volunteers. So I hope this event fills in a bit of that gap in that hole. But it is also an opportunity to say thank you for really stepping up in what has been a very difficult period for everybody. The BHS has over, I suspect, well over 1,100 volunteers actually, but they, between them, give on average about 110,000 hours of volunteering for the society. That probably doesn't mean very much in that context. But put it this way, we all recognise that they all go above and beyond the average timescales that would seem sensible. Every single volunteer plays a part in enabling the BHS to fulfil their charity objectives across participation, particularly education, the safety and access work. Now today, I'm afraid rather rapidly, but we have been able to celebrate many of those BHS volunteers, supporters and organisations, because they are all an important part of fulfilling that role and improving the situation for riders and owners across the country. So this year's awards ceremony is possibly even more special in celebrating not just this year's, but last year's, when we could not hold that ceremony. Now when I say difficult the last 18 months, it's probably even more than that, but the determination of everyone at the BHS to support horses and the people who look after them has been remarkable. And a big thank you goes to those who helped support the BHS Hardship Fund, which was a direct coronavirus appeal. And understanding what lockdown meant to all those involved took some responding to particularly quickly. For most charities, huge impact on their fundraising abilities. But for the BHS, it required a huge increase in fundraising abilities to be able to reach those who were going to be severely put out in their abilities to look after those animals which they had on the place. So supporting the welfare of their horse and ponies, paying for feed, forage, veterinary and farriery costs, billing stock, and recognising that and being able to step up and help them. So for all of those who contributed to the Hardship Fund, and there are a lot more outside of this meeting who did that, a big thank you. Since then, the BHS Bounce Back grant scheme has also been launched. And that is very much about recovery period. And I hope that that will increase the participation, but also engage new groups of participants, boosting a whole range of access points, participation from a wide range of backgrounds, and including them in an area perhaps they haven't seen themselves really being involved with before. I hope too that supporting horses continues with that second chance for horses programme, that allows horses to be rehabilitated by equine professionals, of course at the BHS and the riding centres, but there is the experience and expertise to take on these rescue horses, to continue to rehabilitate them, but to give them useful lives, to give them a second life chance. And that equally transforms their lives in a safe and secure environment. Rehabilitating can take many forms, and quite often that will be from what could have been a quite a traumatic period in a horse's life, was otherwise perfectly capable of being a good companion animal, a good riding horse, and maybe even a good competition horse. Getting over that point in which their lives started or went wrong, and to put it back together again. I hope too that it's also meant an increase in awareness of the collaboration that's required to rehabilitate horses that come from a whole range of backgrounds and places, because we know that this year and in previous years some of those rescues had been huge numbers and had been approached from all societies across Britain to be able to support them after those rescues. And that level of collaboration I hope will continue, because I think it will help all of our organisations come up with a better answer in the many different ways that we And there's never been more need for that cooperation, or indeed for this particular project of rehabilitation. I don't imagine the equine crisis in that sense is over, but hopefully the links will be stronger in the future and better coordinated in terms of our ability to not only rescue, but rehome and rehabilitate those individuals that are rescued. That includes huge contributions from volunteers and supporters from the BHS across the country. They and their supporters allow us to achieve those aims. So it's a big thank you, and this is an opportunity to do so, to thank you to all of them who make it possible and who have really filled in that yawning gap that we saw in the last 18 months. I certainly have had the opportunity to vaguely rehabilitate some animals, but it is amazing what they can do if you give them the chance. I'm particularly keen that I'm delighted to hear that the improved school scheme is so popular, because we know they're under real pressure, and this is a way we can help support the schools, hopefully support them in the terms of access to good animals, and support them in their desire to increase access and increase inclusion in their particular areas. And many of you today have already done that, know how to do it, and will help pass that on. Well worth perusing the programme here for clues there in how to do that. So a big congratulations to all those award winners today. But the awards are for an organisation an opportunity to highlight the extraordinary levels of good practice that happen and how many of them there are across the country. And it allows us as an organisation to say thank you, but to promote and raise the profile of that quality of contribution and commitment so that other people recognise it as well. So this day is very much for you to enjoy as award winners, but also as a society, and the contribution that you have made and continue to make for horses in all of their ways in which they improve our lives, ponies and anything else in between, of which there are several, and the way in which we can support people to look after them better. The British Horse Society has set the standard in terms of care over many years, and I think this year and this last 18 months have proved you really continue to step those standards, and you continue to step up to the plate to support them, whatever happens. So thank you all very much indeed.